Hi everyone, this is Yana from Susan's family. Today, I'll teach you how to crochet a single sunflower. The sunflower consists of one flower, one calyx, and two leaves, making up three parts. Let's start by learning how to crochet the flower. The flower is divided into the flower core and petals. These two parts are completed as one piece by switching colors. Let's begin with the method for crocheting the flower core. Let's take a look at the chart. We'll use the magic ring method to start. Crochet counterclockwise in rounds around the center. There are a total of 5 rounds. The 5th round is divided into 2 layers. The stitches used include chains, single crochets, ridged SC, treble crochets, and slip stitches. Below, please watch as I demonstrate the specific crocheting technique. Start with a magic ring. Before we begin crocheting, let's learn the proper posture for crocheting. For your convenience to see more clearly, I'll use cotton yarn for the demonstration. For specific yarn, color schemes, and hook sizes, please refer to the detail page of our product. Let's start with the foundation chain. Pick up the yarn tail with your right hand. Wrap it twice around your left index finger. 1, 2. There are a total of 3 threads on top. Use your right thumb and index finger to gently pinch where the loops overlap. Take it out. Then wrap the tail end around your left little finger once. Pass it through between your index and middle fingers. Transfer the loop to between your left middle finger and thumb. Pick up the crochet hook with your right hand. The hook moves between these 2 points. Insert into the magic ring loop. Position the hook to the left side of the yarn. Wrap the yarn counterclockwise. Draw the yarn through. Crochet 1 chain to secure. Yarn over. Pull through. Everyone, take a look. This is what it looks like after completing the starting chain. Below, we will work the first round. Chain 1 as the turning chain for the single crochet. Next, work single crochets into the magic ring loop. Insert into the magic ring loop. Draw the yarn through. There are now 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over. Pull through both loops once. 1 single crochet is complete. Place a stitch marker on this stitch. Position it on the right side of the braid. If you don't have a stitch marker, you can use a paperclip or safety pin instead. Continue crocheting. Insert the hook. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over. Pull through the 2 loops on the hook. This is the second stitch. You need to work 6 single crochets in this round. Let's keep going. 3 stitches. 4 stitches. 5 stitches. 6 stitches. After completing all of them, close the magic ring. There are 2 loops here. First, gently pull the yarn tail. You can see one of the loops is movable. Tighten the movable loop first. There is 1 loop left. Pull the yarn tail tight directly. This way, the magic ring is closed. Don't cut the yarn tail here for now. You can weave it in while working the next round. Insert your hook into the loop that was left. Make 1 slip stitch at the marker spot. Insert. Draw the yarn through. And draw through all the loops on the hook. The braid on the side is the slip stitch. Pay attention and make sure to tighten this stitch, otherwise, you might end up with extra stitches later. Look everyone. This is what it looks like after completing the first round. Move on to work the second round. For this round, pick up the stitches from the previous round and crochet them. The stitch refers to the V-shaped loop at the top right of the single crochet, which looks like these two strands. Each stitch has a corresponding stitch. Chain 1 as the turning chain for the single crochet. This stitch corresponds to the stitch below it. Work 1 single crochet in the same position. As you work, place the yarn tail from start, above the hook, and weave it in along with the natural texture of the fabric. Mark this stitch. Then work 1 treble crochet in the same spot. The technique for treble crochet is yarn over twice. 1, 2. Insert the hook. Draw the yarn through. There are 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. 3 loops remaining. Yarn over again, and draw through the next 2 loops. 2 loops remaining. Yarn over and draw through both loops in once. 1 treble crochet is completed. Continue with 1 single crochet in the same position. The second single crochet is completed. You can take a look. We crocheted 1 single crochet in the same stitch. 1 treble crochet. 1 single crochet. Consider these 3 stitches as one pattern group. Then, crochet the second pattern group in the adjacent stitch. Pay attention, because in the previous stitch, more stitches were crocheted. It will cover the adjacent stitches. Make sure not to miss any stitches while crocheting. Start with 1 single crochet. Don't forget to weave in the ends as you work. Then, crochet 1 treble crochet. Yarn over twice. Insert. Draw through. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops on the hook. Repeat this 3 times. One, 2, 3. The treble crochet is completed. Continue with 1 single crochet. This completes the second pattern repeat. Next, work the third pattern in the adjacent stitch. 1 single crochet. 1 treble crochet. 1 single crochet. The third pattern repeat is now finished. Let's take a look at the pattern for this round. All patterns are worked within the stitches. Each pattern consists of 1 single crochet, 1 treble crochet, and 1 single crochet. The previous round has 6 single crochets. This round works 6 patterns on the 6 single crochets. Continue all the way down to complete the remaining stitches. Finish with a slip stitch at the marker spot. Pull tight. You can take a look now. The right side of the fabric is smoother. The wrong side has raised textures. When crocheting, keep the right side facing you. You can count from the back if needed. Each raised texture corresponds to one pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 patterns in total, matching the chart. The starting tail has already been woven in for a round. You can cut it off directly. Take a look, everyone. This is what it looks like after completing the second round. Now we move on to the third round. Make 1 chain as the turning chain for single crochet. This stitch corresponds to the single crochet stitch below. Crochet 1 single crochet into this stitch. Mark the stitch. Skip the adjacent treble crochet stitch, and leave it unworked. Work the pattern into the neighboring single crochet stitch. You can check the treble crochet in the middle of the pattern. It's because of the 2 single crochets on either side. It will protrude outward. Skip this stitch. Start crocheting from the adjacent stitch. 1 single crochet. 1 treble crochet. 1 single crochet. The first pattern cluster is now finished. Next, in the neighboring single crochet stitch, crochet 1 single crochet. After completing it, skip the adjacent treble crochet stitch. Crochet the pattern cluster in the adjacent single crochet stitch. All pattern clusters consist of 1 single crochet, 1 treble crochet, and 1 single crochet. I will not repeat this explanation for the following steps. Now the second pattern cluster is finished. Let's take a look at the crocheting rule for this round. All stitches of this round are crocheted into the single crochet stitches of the previous round. The treble crochet stitches are left unworked. Skip 1 single crochet, then crochet 1 pattern cluster. You can also check from the other side. The patterns of this round are staggered from the pattern positions of the previous round. The texture looks nice. Repeat this process to finish the rest. Finally, conclude with a slip stitch at the marker spot. Pull tight. Now everyone, take a look. This is what it looks like after completing the third round. It also has 6 pattern clusters crocheted. Now move on to the fourth round. Chain 1 is the beginning chain. This stitch corresponds to the single crochet stitch below. Crochet 1 cluster in it. And mark the first single crochet. After completing it, in the adjacent single crochet stitch, crochet 1 single crochet. Skip the adjacent treble crochet stitch. Crochet 1 single crochet in the neighboring single crochet stitch. Continue and crochet one cluster in the adjacent single crochet stitch. After completing the cluster, crochet 2 single crochets. All of them are crocheted in the single crochet stitches from the previous round. All the treble crochet stitches are left unworked. I will not repeat this explanation. Now crochet one more cluster. Let's take a look at the pattern for this round. Each group of clusters is separated by 2 single crochets. Compared to the previous round, there is an increase of 1 single crochet. The clusters in this round are staggered from the cluster positions in the previous round. Follow this pattern to complete the rest. Finally, according to the pattern, perfectly crochet 2 single crochets. After completion, finish with a slip stitch at the marker spot. Don't remove the stitch marker here just yet. Tighten it. Everyone, take a look. This is what it looks like after completing the 4th round. The number of cluster groups remains fixed, still 6 groups. Next, crochet the 5th round. This round is divided into 2 layers, top and bottom. Start with the upper layer first. Start with 3 chains. These 3 chains correspond to the stitches below the single crochet stitch at this stitch marker. Place a marker on the first chain. After completing it, skip the treble crochet stitches next to it and pick its back loop in the adjacent single crochet stitch. Crochet a slip stitch. One stitch looks like these 2 strands of yarn. The strand closer to you is the front loop. The strand farther away is the back loop. For this entire round, you will be working into the back loops of the single crochet stitches. Crochet using the back loops of the single crochet stitches. Insert your hook into the outer strand, and make a slip stitch. Note that the slip stitch here should not be pulled too tight. Just continue crocheting normally. After completing it, work 3 chains as a transition. 1, 2, 3. Pick up the back loop in the adjacent single crochet stitch. Make 1 slip stitch. Continue with 3 chains as a bridge. In the back loop of the adjacent single crochet stitch, work a slip stitch. Let's take a look at the pattern for this round. It involves working slip stitches into the back loops of single crochet stitches. Between each slip stitch, chain 3 as a transition. Leave the treble crochet stitches unworked. There are 4 single crochets between every 2 treble crochets. While crocheting, pay attention to not missing any single crochet stitches. Repeat this process. Continue down and complete the remaining stitches. Finish with the last stitch. Chain 3 for transition. On the chain marked with the stitch marker, end with a slip stitch. Pick up these 2 strands and work a slip stitch. Tighten it. Everyone, take a look. This is what the top half of the 5th round looks like after completion. Next, work on the lower half of the 5th round. For this round, pick up the front loops of the 4th round and work single crochets. Make 1 chain as the beginning chain. Tighten this stitch. Insert the hook into the front loop of the stitch marked with the stitch marker. This stitch's front loop. Right here. Work a single crochet in it. Mark this single crochet. Since you're picking up the half loops to work the single crochets, this is also called a single crochet stripe stitch. Continue to pick up the front loops, and work the stripe stitches correspondingly. Since the previous round picked up the back loops, finish with a slip stitch. So here there is a strand of yarn like this. Pick up this strand to work the stripe stitch. Also, remember to leave the treble crochet stitches unworked. Work down to complete the rest. Finally, end with a slip stitch at the marker spot. Do not remove this stitch marker for now. Pull tight. This round has a total of 24 stripe stitches. After completing, please check the number of stripe stitches. It should match the chart. Then work 1 chain to secure. Enlarge the loop. Leave about 5 centimeters of yarn tail. Cut off. Tighten. Tuck the yarn tail along the texture of the right side of the piece. You can work a few more stitches to secure, then trim the excess part. Flip the piece over. The side with the raised texture will be the right side of the flower core. Look! This is what the completed flower core looks like. The flower core may curl slightly after finishing. This is normal. It will lay flat when combined with the calyx. Next, we'll learn the method for crocheting the petals. Let's take a look at the finished product. The petals consist of 2 layers in total. The first layer is the small petals. The second layer is the large petals. We'll start by learning how to crochet the small petals. Refer to the chart. Begin crocheting from the front loops of the last round of the flower core. Each petal starts with a foundation chain. Follow along the row where you started the chain. Work back and forth for 2 rows. Add the thin wire while crocheting the second row. For your convenience in watching, I will demonstrate with a flat lay chart. The repetitive sections are omitted. The new stitches used include half double crochets and double crochets. Now, please watch as I demonstrate the specific crocheting method. Take out the flower core. Place the flower core with the right side facing you. Crochet the small petals onto the last round of the flower core. Work into the front loops of the single crochets. That is, right here. Take the yarn for crocheting the petals. The color scheme is random here. Please refer to the chart for specific colors. Start by making a slip knot with the yarn tail. After completing, secure the hanging yarn end. Begin from the stitch where the stitch marker is placed. Start crocheting. Insert the hook into the front loop of this stitch. Draw the yarn through the loop. Adjust the size of the loop. After completing, crochet 7 chains. That completes the starting chain. Place a marker on the last stitch. Pick up these 2 strands to mark. To make it convenient for crocheting later, place a marker on the back loop of the corresponding single crochet in the foundation chain. Mark it properly. Then flip the fabric piece over. Let the braid's wrong side face you. You can see the braids on the wrong side. They are all made up of 3 strands. For the first row, pick the top strand of each braid. Crochet slip stitches. Skip the stitch with the stitch marker. Start crocheting from the adjacent braid. Pick the top strand. Mind that the slip stitches in this row shouldn't be too tight. Keep them slightly loose, otherwise, it will be difficult to pick up stitches later. Continue down and finish the rest. The last slip stitch should be crocheted into the first braid. Everyone, don't miss this step. There are a total of 6 slip stitches in this row. You can count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then, at the insertion point of the beginning chain, crochet 1 slip stitch. Pay attention here, because we are now working on the wrong side. Pick up the back loop only. Tighten this stitch. That's it for the first row. Now move on to the second row. Make 1 chain as the turning chain. Flip the fabric piece over. Crochet into the slip stitches of the previous row. Insert the hook into the first braid. Note, do not crochet into the tightened braid on the side. Start crocheting from here. Add the thin wire while crocheting. Place it above the hook. Leave a part of the thin wire as you add it in, to prevent it from slipping out during the crocheting process. And at the same time, secure the yarn tail at the back starting position. Bring it in together. Start with 1 single crochet. This will secure the thin wire. Then make 1 half double crochet. The technique for half double crochet is yarn over once, insert the hook into the adjacent chain. Draw through. There will be 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and draw through all loops. 1 half double crochet is completed. Move on to work a double crochet, yarn over once. Insert. Pull through. There will be 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops on the hook. Repeat this twice. 1, 2. 1 double crochet is completed. While crocheting, always keep the yarn tail from your left hand above the thin wire. Continue to work 1 half double crochet. Yarn over once. Insert the hook. Draw through. Yarn over and draw through all loops on your hook. The half double crochet is finished. Move on to 1 single crochet. There is 1 chain left. Crochet 1 slip stitch. At the insertion point of this slip stitch, place a marker. It's this spot. In the marked chain, crochet 1 slip stitch. After completing the slip stitch, the yarn tail will be below the thin wire. You need to bring the yarn tail above the thin wire before continuing to crochet. Pick up these 2 strands and crochet. While crocheting, don't forget to tidy up the starting yarn tail. Next, insert the hook into the insertion point of the first slip stitch. Crochet 1 slip stitch inside. This is the position of the stitch marker. Let me emphasize again. While crocheting, always keep the yarn tail above the thin wire. Continue crocheting downward. The stitches on this side correspond evenly to the stitches on the opposite side. Pay attention to the insertion point here. It should be in the same hole as the stitch on the opposite side. Start with 1 single crochet. Find the insertion point of the opposite single crochet. It's right here. You need to crochet here. You can see these 2 single crochets. They are worked in the same hole. Move on to 1 half double crochet. One double crochet. Yarn over once. Yarn over, insert. Draw through. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops on the hook. You can see these 2 stitches and the opposite stitch pattern are also in the same hole. Continue with 1 half double crochet. One single crochet. After completing it, in the front loop of the adjacent stitch of the flower core, crochet a slip stitch. While crocheting, bring the thin wire through together. Pull tight. Everyone look! This is what it looks like after completing the first petal. After finishing one petal, the yarn tail and thin wire can easily get tangled. Make sure to separate them in time. Continue with the second petal. Start with the front loop of the adjacent stitch. Make one slip stitch. Weave it into the work. Don't forget to bring the thin wire through together. This slip stitch doesn't need to be tightened. After completing, crochet 7 chains. Pay attention, here you don't need to bring the thin wire in. Mark the last stitch. Turn the fabric piece over. From the second to last braid, crochet slip stitches correspondingly into each stitch below. I want to emphasize again. Don't pull the slip stitch too tight here. Then, on the slip stitch at the starting position of this petal, make one slip stitch, which is right here. Insert and crochet with these 2 strands of yarn. Tighten it. That's how you finish the first row. Now move on to the second row. Chain 1 is the beginning chain. Turn the fabric piece over. Pick up the chain formed by the slip stitches and crochet. The method is identical to before. As you crochet, incorporate the thin wire. Continue all the way down until they are completed. Finally, in the front loop of an adjacent stitch near the flower core, make a slip stitch. Don't forget to include the thin wire while crocheting. Pull tight. Everyone, take a look. This is what it looks like after completing the second petal. Continue to crochet the third petal. First, in the front loop of a nearby stitch, make one slip stitch. Transition the yarn tail over. Don't forget to include the thin wire while crocheting. After completing that, chain 7. Place a marker on this last chain. Then move on to crochet the first row. Turn the fabric piece over. From the second to last chain, pick up the top strand and crochet a slip stitch. After finishing, in the slip stitch at the starting position of this petal, make one slip stitch, right here. Pull tight. That completes the first row. Continue following the chart to finish the second row. Finally, in the front loop of the adjacent stitch, crochet one slip stitch. Pull tight. Everyone, take a look. This is what the third petal looks like after it's completed. Let's check out the stitching pattern here. Each petal consists of 2 rows of stitches. When crocheting the first row, no thin wire is needed. Insert the thin wire while crocheting the second row. The stitch patterns on both sides of the second row should be crocheted in the same hole. Each petal takes up 2 stitches. The last round of the flower core has 24 single crochets in total. This round needs to crochet 12 small petals. All of them are crocheted by picking up the front loops. Repeat this process. Refer to the pattern to complete the rest. I will not continue demonstrating here. Next, I will use this sample to demonstrate the method for dealing with the yarn tails. Note that I am only demonstrating the crocheting method here. Pay attention, here I only show the crocheting technique. There are fewer petals. After completing the second row of the last petal, in the front loop of an adjacent stitch of the flower core, crochet 1 slip stitch. Pull tight. Then, at the insertion point of the first petal, crochet 1 slip stitch. Which is this stitch? This position. Don't forget to include the thin wire while crocheting. Tighten. The small petal is now completed. If you will crochet the large petals in a different color later, secure with a chain and fasten off the yarn here. There's no need to cut the thin wire. Next, let's learn how to crochet the large petals. Refer to the chart. The method for crocheting large petals is similar to that of small petals. It also starts with a foundation chain. Follow along this starting row. Crochet back and forth for 2 rows. Add the thin wire when crocheting the second row. Below, please watch as I demonstrate the specific crocheting method. Don't cut the yarn. Follow along the yarn tail, where you paused crocheting before. Start crocheting with a beginning chain. Insert the hook into the previous stitch before. Mark the back loop, where the stitch marker is placed. Crochet 1 slip stitch there. Weave in the yarn tail. Don't forget to bring the thin wire along as you crochet. Crochet 9 chains next. Place a mark on the last stitch. When starting with a new yarn, directly insert the hook at the marked stitch and make 9 chains. Don't forget to bring the thin wire along as you crochet. Flip the fabric piece over. Start crocheting a slip stitch from the second to last chain. Remember, don't tighten the slip stitch too much. In total, crochet 8 slip stitches. Then at the insertion point of the beginning chain, make 1 slip stitch. Right here. Tighten it. That's how you finish the first row. Now move on to the second row. Chain 1 to start. Flip the fabric piece over. This row will be crocheted on top of the previous row's slip stitches. While crocheting, add the thin wire as you go. 1 single crochet. 1/2 double crochet. 3 double crochets. 1/2 double crochet. 1 single crochet. Three slip stitches. Finish the first slip stitch. Mark the insertion point. The third slip stitch and the first slip. Crochet in the same stitch. Work all the way down on this side. The stitch patterns on both sides are symmetrical. After completing, in the back loop of the adjacent stitch of the flower core, hook a slip stitch. Pull tight. Everyone, take a look. This is what the first large petal looks like after completion. One petal also takes up 2 stitches. Continue with the second petal. Start with 1 slip stitch as a transition. While crocheting, don't forget to incorporate the thin wire. Then crochet 9 chains. Mark the last stitch. Flip the fabric piece over. Work slip stitches into each stitch in sequence on the other side. After completing this petal, at the starting position of the slip stitch, make 1 slip stitch. Tighten the yarn. That completes the first row. Now move on to the second row. Chain 1 as beginning chain. Flip the piece over. Refer to the pattern and crochet them all the way down. Don't forget to include the thin wire while crocheting. Finally, in the back loop of the adjacent stitch, crochet a slip stitch. Pull tight. Everyone, take a look. This is what the second petal looks like when it's completed. Let's check the pattern for this round of crocheting. The technique for large petals is similar to that of small petals. It's just the number of stitches that differs. Each large petal also takes up 2 stitches. Repeat this process. Refer to the pattern and finish crocheting the remaining petals. After the last petal is done, still at the insertion point of the first petal, crochet 1 slip stitch to connect. Right here, the joining method is the same as for the small petals. I won't continue demonstrating from here. Next, I'll use a small sample to demonstrate the yarn tail treatment method. After all the petals are finished, make one chain to secure. Stretch the loop. Leave about 5 centimeters of yarn tail. Cut off. Pull tight. Leave a part of the thin wire. Cut it. And tuck the yarn tail along the backside of the flower core. Hide both ends of the thin wire inside the petals. Everyone take a look. This is what the completed flower looks like. Next, we'll learn how to crochet the calyx. Let's take a look at the chart. Use the magic ring method. Crochet counterclockwise in rounds around the center. There are 11 rounds in total. The new stitch technique used is single crochet increase and chain 3 picket. Below, please watch as I demonstrate the specific crocheting method. Start with a magic ring first. I've already prepared the magic ring here. Pay attention to leave the starting tail slightly longer. Now let's start with the first round. Crochet 6 single crochets. Continue downward and complete them. Finally, close the ring. Join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. Pull tight. Everyone, take a look. This is what the first round looks like after completion. You can check it out. The texture on the right side of the fabric is clearer. The texture on the wrong side is more blurred. When crocheting later, keep the right side facing you. Insert the hook into the center. Bring the starting tail of the yarn to the right side. Move on to crochet the second round. Crochet single crochets evenly, corresponding stitch by stitch without increasing or decreasing. Work down and finish them. Since you're crocheting even single crochets, the edge of the fabric will curl slightly. Hold the piece with the right side facing you. Flip the curled part to the back. After completing it, finish with a slip stitch. Pull tight. Everyone, take a look. This is what it looks like after completing the second round. Repeat this process to crochet rounds 3 to 4. These 2 rounds are also matched up with even single crochets. While crocheting, always keep the right side facing out. I won't demonstrate this part here. Everyone, take a look. This is what it looks like after completing the 4th round. Next, crochet the 5th round. Chain 1 to begin. This stitch corresponds to the stitch below. At the beginning of each round while crocheting, you need to chain 1 as your beginning chain. This chain does not count as a stitch. I won't repeat the explanation again. In the stitch corresponding to the beginning chain, make 2 single crochets. 1 stitch. 2 stitches. You can take a look. We have made 2 single crochets in the same stitch. These 2 stitches are a single crochet increase. Place a stitch marker on the first single crochet to mark it. Continue crocheting with single crochet increase. One, 2. The second single crochet increase is completed. There are 6 single crochets in the previous round. In this round, make 6 single crochet increases on each of the 6 single crochets. Continue to finish the rest. Finally, join with a slip stitch at the stitch marker spot. Pull tight. Everyone, take a look. This is what it looks like after completing the 5th round. Move on to the 6th round. Start with 1 single crochet. You can mark this stitch for convenience. It helps you easily find the slip stitch position at the end. Usually, when you're more experienced, it's easier to locate it. So I won't place a marker here. Now make a single crochet increase. Crochet 2 stitches in the same stitch. 1, 2. Continue with 1 single crochet. After completing it, make a single crochet increase. 1, 2. Let's take a look at the pattern for this round. 1 single crochet, also known as working evenly. 1 increase stitch. 1 even stitch. 1 increase stitch. This method of increasing is also called skip 1, increase 1. Skip 1 stitch and work it evenly. Increase 1 stitch. Repeat this process to finish the rest of the stitches. Finally, end with a slip stitch in the first stitch position. Pull tight. Everyone, take a look. This is what it looks like after completing round 6. There are a total of 18 stitches. Compare it with the previous round. We increased 6 stitches. The number of increased stitches and total stitches for each round can be referenced in the table. I won't explain this part later. Next, work on the 7th round. For this round, you need to stagger the increase placement. Start by making a single crochet increase. This way, the increase point is staggered from the previous round. The texture looks better. Then, work 2 single crochets evenly. After completing them, make a single crochet increase. 1, 2. Continue with 2 more single crochets worked evenly. 1 increase stitch. The increase pattern for this round is to increase 1 stitch every 2. Work 2 single crochets evenly as the space between increases. Add 1 stitch. Repeat this process. Work all the way down to finish the remaining stitches. Follow the pattern. Finally, work 2 single crochets evenly. After completing them, conclude with a slip stitch on the first stitch. Pull tight. Everyone, take a look. This is what it looks like after completing the 7th round. Next, we will work on the 8th round. Start with 3 single crochets worked evenly. One, 2, 3. Then increase by 1 stitch. Work 2 single crochets into the same stitch. Then work 3 more stitches evenly. One, 2, 3. Increase by 1 stitch again. The increase pattern for this round is to increase 1 stitch every 3. Work 3 stitches evenly with no increases or decreases, then add 1 stitch. Follow this pattern to finish the remaining stitches. Finish with a slip stitch on the first stitch. Pull tight. Everyone, take a look. This is what it looks like after completing the 8th round. Continue to crochet the 9th round. Start with 1 single crochet. Then work 1 increase stitch. After that, work 4 single crochets. Then work 1 more increase stitch. The increase pattern for this round is to increase 1 stitch every 4. Follow this pattern to complete the entire round. Finish with the last increase stitch. There are 3 stitches remaining. Crochet 3 single crochets. Add the initial 1 single crochet, it makes a total of 4 stitches, perfectly. After completing, join with a slip stitch on the first stitch. Pull tight. Everyone, take a look. This is what it looks like after completing the 9th round. For round 10, make a beginning chain of 3 chains. Treat these 3 chains as 1 double crochet stitch. Mark this 3rd chain. These 3 chains correspond to the single crochet stitch below. Chain 2 as a transition next. Work 1 double crochet in the same position. We treat these 2 double crochets, and the 2 chains in the middle as 1 double crochet pattern. Be mindful, because only the first pattern is crocheted at the starting position, so it's a bit special. It consists of a beginning chain, 2 chains, and 1 double crochet. The rest of the patterns are made up of 2 double crochets, and 2 chains. Move on to the second pattern group. Skip the next 2 adjacent stitches unworked. Start from the 3rd stitch. Crochet 1 double crochet. 2 chains. 1 double crochet. The second pattern group is completed. Continue with the 3rd pattern group. Skip 2 stitches. Start crocheting from the 3rd stitch. 1 double crochet. 2 chains. 1 double crochet. The 3rd pattern group is completed. Let's take a look at the pattern for this round. This round consists entirely of double crochet patterns. Each pattern is made up of 1 double crochet, 2 chains, 1 double crochet. There is an interval of 2 stitches between every 2 patterns. Repeat this process. Continue crocheting down to finish the rest. After finishing the last pattern, there will be exactly 2 stitches remaining. Leave it unworked. End with a slip stitch at the marker spot. Pick up these 2 strands of yarn. Pull tight. Everyone, take a look. This is what it looks like after completing the 10th round. Next, move on to round 11. This round will be crocheted into the chain spaces from the previous round. Start by inserting the hook into the chain space on the left side. Make 1 slip stitch. Weave the yarn tail into the work. There's no need to tighten the slip stitch here. Just crochet as usual. After completing, make 1 beginning chain. In this chain space, work 1 single crochet. 1 double crochet. Then make 1 CH3SL picot. First, chain 3. 1, 2, 3. After finishing, insert the hook into the front loop of the double crochet stitch, and underneath this strand of yarn. Work 1 slip stitch. That completes a CH3SL picot. The rest will all be CH3SL picot. I won't repeat the explanation. Next, work 1 single crochet in the same space. We consider these 4 stitches as one motif. It includes 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 picot, 1 single crochet. That completes the first motif group. Move on to the second motif group. Work 1 single crochet in the adjacent chain space. 1 double crochet. After finishing, begin the picot. Start with 3 chains. 1, 2, 3. Insert the hook into the front loop of the double crochet stitch, and through the yarn below. Make 1 slip stitch. 1 picot is now completed. Continue with 1 single crochet. That completes the second motif group. Let's review the pattern for this round. All motifs are worked in the chain spaces from the previous round. Each motif starts with 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 picot, and 1 single crochet. Repeat this process, and complete the rest. Repeat section. And finish with a slip stitch in the first stitch. Pull tight. Make 1 chain to secure. Stretch the loop. Leave about 50 centimeters of yarn tail. Cut off. Pull tight. Everyone, take a look. This is what the completed calyx looks like. Next, we will learn how to crochet the leaves. Refer to the chart. Start with a chain. Follow this starting row. Crochet counterclockwise in a circular pattern outward. There are 2 rounds in total. When crocheting the first round, insert a thin wire. Below, please watch me demonstrate the specific crocheting method. Start with 16 chains. Hang the yarn tail on your left hand. Place the hook underneath the yarn. Wrap the yarn counterclockwise. At this point, there is 1 loop on the hook. Pinch the crossing point of the loop with your left hand. The hook is on the left side of the yarn. Yarn over. Pull through the loop on the hook. This slip knot does not count as a stitch. Tighten the yarn tail. You can also make a slip knot and place it on the crochet hook. Now, let's start crocheting chains. 1, 2, 3. 14, 15, 16. Once done, place markers on the first and last stitch. Mark these stitches well. Look everyone. This is what it looks like after completing the foundation chain. Next, we will work the first round. Chain 1 to begin. This stitch corresponds to the braid under the stitch marker. Crochet 2 single crochets inside it. Insert into the corresponding braid. Pick up the top strand and work a single crochet. While crocheting, include the thin wire together. Leave a length of about 5 centimeters. Place the thin wire above the hook. One, 2. Mark the first stitch. Continue to match each stitch in sequence below. Pick the top strand of the braid and crochet. First, work 1/2 double crochet. Then move on to work 10 double crochets. After completing, crochet 2 half double crochets. One single crochet. Now you've reached the first braid position. Crochet 3 single crochets inside it. One, 2, 3. Make a mark on this middle stitch. Continue crocheting downward. Now you've reached the other side of the starting chain. Pay attention to the insertion point here. The first stitch should be crocheted into the adjacent braid. Insert these 2 strands of yarn. While crocheting, weave in the starting tail together. Crochet single crochets inside. You can see this single crochet, and the one on the opposite side. They are both crocheted into the same space. Continue picking up braids, and work with 2 strands of yarn. The stitch pattern on this side is symmetrical to the one on the opposite side. Refer to the pattern. Keep crocheting until the stitch before the stitch marker on the left side. While crocheting, don't forget to weave in the yarn tails. Now you've reached the corresponding position. Crochet 1 single crochet into the chain of the stitch marker. Also pick up 2 strands and continue crocheting. Finally, finish with a slip stitch at the first stitch position. When slip stitching, include these 2 thin wires. Pull tight. Leave a 5 cm length of the thin wire before cutting. Everyone, take a look. This is what it looks like after completing the first round. Move on to crochet the second round. Chain 1 to begin. This stitch corresponds to the stitch below. Crochet 1 single crochet into it. Mark the stitch. Continue picking up stitches and working single crochets in sequence. Keep crocheting until the stitch before the stitch marker on the left side. Now you've reached the corresponding position. In the stitch of the stitch marker, crochet 1 single crochet. Chain 2. Crochet 1 single crochet. Work down to complete the other side edge. Pick up stitches and work even single crochets all the way through. Finally, at the stitch marker position, join with a slip stitch to finish. While crocheting, bring the 2 thin wires from behind. Pull tight. Crochet 1 chain to secure. Stretch the loop. Leave a yarn tail of about 5 centimeters. Cut off. Pull tight. Everyone, take a look. This is what the leaves look like when completely finished. The side with clearer texture is the right side. The side with less clear texture is the wrong side. Up to this point, the crocheting methods for all parts of the sunflower are now complete. When you actually make it, crochet all parts of the sunflower that you need. After completing each part, proceed to assemble them at the end. Below, I will demonstrate the assembly method for a sunflower branch. First, connect the calyx to the flower. Insert the remaining yarn tails from crocheting into the back of the flower core. Use them as stuffing. Place the calyx with the right side facing up. Use a stitch marker to hold them in place. Take the calyx 9th round, which is the last round of single crochets, and the insertion point for the large petals, and sew them together using the running stitch method. Thread the reserved yarn tail into your sewing needle. Weave it into the work from the wrong side to the 9th round position. After completing this step, insert the needle into the corresponding placement of stitches on the large petal. Match up the entry positions. Pull tight. Skip a few stitches and exit. Then go back to the corresponding position on the calyx. Pull tight. Skip a few stitches and come out from the calyx. Go to the matching position on the large petal. Pull tight. This one in, one out sewing method is called the running stitch method. There's no specific requirement for the number of stitches you skip. You can adjust according to your preference. As long as it's sewn securely, that's fine. Repeat this process. Continue sewing the rest in this way. While sewing, if you find there's not enough stuffing, you can add a little more. After finishing all the sewing, sew the last round of the calyx to the large petal. First, move the yarn to the corresponding position. Still use the backstitch method. Pay attention while sewing. Don't let the needle go through to the front of the petal. Pick up the loops on the back and secure. Similarly, at the calyx position, pick up the wrong side loops and secure. Following this method, continue sewing the rest. Finally, hide the yarn tail along the texture. Everyone, take a look. This is what the flower and calyx look like after they're connected. The next step is to join the flower and leaves with the stem. Take out the stem, insert the top of the stem through the bottom of the calyx. Be mindful not to exit through the flower core. Wrap the reserved yarn tail around the stem a few times. Make sure to wrap it tight. After wrapping, secure them by wrapping with tape. At the starting position, wrap a few extra times to hold it in place. Secure it well. Wrap it downward in a spiral shape like this. As you wrap, use your hands to pinch it tight. This will help the tape stick together better. Wrap to about 1-2 centimeters in length. This secures the flower in place. Next, add the leaves. First, twist the thin wires at both ends of the leaves tight. While twisting, include the yarn tails in the wrapping. Place the leaves with the right side facing up. Stick the previously reserved thin wire close to the stem. Use paper tape to wrap them securely. Add the other leaf next. Here, the two leaves are staggered from each other. It looks better this way. Continue wrapping the paper tape downward. Keep wrapping all the way down to the bottom of the stem. Cut off the excess parts. The single sunflower is now completed. If you have any questions during the process, Don't hesitate to reach us via our website, Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next episode.